The Bell Witch came from the shadows of Tennessee's past as a terrifying force. This terrifying lore describes a malicious force that tormented the Bell family and set off a chain of paranormal occurrences. Its unsettling narrative endures, capturing the attention of inquisitive minds and leaving a frightening mark on folklore. Who is this Bell family, and how did it fall under the witch's trap? John Bell and his wife Lucy Bell purchased a farm in Edgecombe County and started accumulating riches and power there. John and Lucy Bell, along with their children Jesse, John Jr., Drewry, Benjamin, Esther, Zadok, Elizabeth, Richard Williams, and Joel Egbert, purchased 1,000 acres of land along the Red River in Robertson County, Tennessee in 1804 and set out to establish a farm. Other children, Zadok traveled to Mississippi and became a well-known lawyer. He also passed away quite early. Benjamin passed away when he was just a tiny boy. The Bell family continued to thrive despite the long-lasting effects of what they called our family trouble. When did they start experiencing the witch and how? Of course, it is unknown how the fabled Bell Witch came to be. In the earliest tales, the spirit herself gives the story of how it all began, saying, "I am a spirit. I once was very happy, but I have been disturbed and made miserable. I am the spirit of a person whose grave in the neighboring woods was disturbed, whose remains were removed and dispersed, and whose tooth was lost under this building. I am here in search of that tooth. This cannot be confirmed, of course, but there are a lot of Indian burial mounds in the area." The witch asserted in another instance that she was a spirit from everywhere: heaven, hell, the earth, and in the air, the houses, any place at any time, have been created millions of years. The incident on the property where John Bell fired a shot at a dog-like thing that vanished is typically cited as the beginning of odd occurrences around the Bell household. Along with Betsy and Drewry, strange animals started to appear nearby. Betsy, Drewry, and John started to hear strange knocking on the door and windows, wings flapping against the ceilings, and rats biting on bedposts. More frighteningly, large things hitting the floor and the sounds of choking and strangulation could be heard. There were deafening noises coming from the bedroom that sounded like beds were suddenly and roughly pulled apart, with the sounds of fighting dogs chained together added. In each case, the noise's origin was never identified. Despite extensive searches, no rats were detected in the house, and no furniture damage was ever found. The family steadfastly refused to discuss the demonstrations with their neighbors during them. The spirit escalated its activity and occasionally physically abused the family members. The Bell Witch tormented Joel, Richard Williams, and Betsy in particular, striking, pinching, and pulling their hair mercilessly. The witch left John Jr. and Lucy Bell mostly unhurt. The spirit declared Lucy to be the most perfect woman living, and the witch was incredibly kind to her, even tending to her and singing to her while she was ill. Long, heated conversations with the witch took place between John Jr. and her, but he never shied away from expressing his dislike for her, calling her the spirit of the damned. James Johnston, a friend of the family, was consulted by the Bells. Johnson was awakened that night by the same phenomenon after leaving the Bell house for the evening. He informed John Bell that morning that it was his spirit, just like in the Bible. As soon as people heard about the haunting, some of them traveled far distances to visit the witch. When the apparition started speaking aloud, the question, "Who are you and what do you want?" was posed, and a feeble voice said, "I am a spirit. I was once very happy, but I have been disturbed." Yet the spirit pushed someone to death's door. The assassination of John Bell Sr. appeared to be one of the Bell Witch's main objectives. The spirit bombarded old Jack Bell with curses, horrible threats, and severe physical torments. Bell retired to his bed and was attended to by John Jr. as the abuse's effects on his mental health persisted. John Bell failed to get out of bed on December 19, 1820, so John Jr. went to get the medicine for his care from the cabinet. He only discovered one vial of medicine, not the 3 that were expected. It held a third of a mysteriously dark, smoky liquid. "It's pointless for you to attempt to relieve old Jack. I have him this time. He will never get out of that bed again," gloated the witch. With regard to the vial, she allegedly stated that she gave old Jack a big dose of it last night while he was fast asleep, which fixed him. The vial's contents were thrown into the fire, where they ignited into a blue blaze. On December 20, 1820, John Bell passed away. The Bell Witch interrupted the service and sang bawdy drinking songs when she crashed the burial. Moving further, let us discuss several other accounts apart from the Bell family that faced the terrifying witch. William Porter, a family friend, allegedly stated that the witch climbed into bed with him, giving him the chance to seize the spirit in the bedclothes and try to hurl it into the fire, but was unsuccessful due to its enormous weight and foul odor. The family's slaves were despised by the witch, who tormented them mercilessly, whipped them, and forbade them from entering the home. The witch, according to a Bell slave named Dean, came frequently in the shape of a giant black dog or wolf, sometimes with two heads and other times without one. Dean also asserted that the witch had attacked him repeatedly and turned him into a donkey. He always had his axe and a witch ball, which his wife had created for him as defense against the witch's influence with him. 5 soldiers from the nearby Fort Campbell were said to have visited the Bell Witch Cave in 1977. One of the troops was seated on a rock when something invisible grabbed him about the chest as he expressed doubt about the legend. Did you know that the 2 most well-known texts, A Mysterious Spirit, The Bell Witch of Tennessee by Charles Bailey Bell, and An Authenticated History of the Famous Bell Witch by M.V. Ingram, serves as the foundation for a large portion of Bell Witch folklore? Many people around the house anticipated a woman behind all these happenings, Kate Batts. Many people thought Frederick Batts' wife, Mary Catherine Kate Batts, who passed away after 1847, was responsible for the unrest referred to as the Bell Witch. She wasn't a poor woman, but she was frequently made fun of by others in Robertson County's Red River settlement. Many people believed she was using black magic or other occult practices because of her bad word choice and occasionally odd behavior. Benjamin Batts, Frederick Batts' brother, and John Bell got into a fight over the sale of a slave at the turn of the century. The details of the argument later became tangled, giving rise to a rumor that said John Bell and Kate Batts were at odds and that Batts conjured the Bell Witch as retaliation for Bell. Numerous tales link the Bell Witch to Kate Batts and some type of conflict between her and John Bell, but new information indicates that she had nothing to do with it. Did you know that the witch left in 1821, saying she would come back in 1828? The residents claimed that she returned back to the house as she said, but they didn't pay much attention to it, so she vanished again, and since then they did not feel her. Moving forward, let's explore the cave of the Bell Witch. Despite having a very minor part in the early 19th century Bell Witch legend, John Bell's Properties Cave has since become a popular destination for people looking to get a glimpse of the haunting. The cave, which was included in the National Historical Registry in 2008, is the only iconic element from the narrative that is still clearly visible today and largely unaltered from how the Bell family would have experienced it in 1817. Although many paranormal occurrences have been reported by visitors to the cave, nothing comparable to the original haunting centered around the Bell House, long since demolished, has been documented since the early 1800s. This is despite the well-known difficulty in taking photographs around the site in the pre-digital age. So this was all about the spooky story of the Bell Witch. Do you believe in paranormal incidents? Have you ever faced one? Do let us know in the comments below.